What up, y'all? It's your boy Bert Dangle, and I'm back, and I'm here to teach you how to produce. So here are gonna be 5 tips that will make you a better producer that have nothing to do with your DAW. Are you ready? We're gonna go in descending order. Number 5, make something new all the time. You might not be feeling inspired. You might feel like you would rather be doing something else or whatever. But the thing is, creativity and inspiration is much like a muscle that needs to be exercised. It needs to be worked up. It needs to be built in order for you to utilize it all the time. It's important that you create something new that might not have anything to do with what you love to do, what you plan on doing as your career. Let's say you're a big room producer and that's what you want your career to do. Sometimes it's nice or important for you to make like hip hop tracks or something else that you just love making, just for you to continuously be creative and to approach producing in new perspectives. So I think that's why it's very crucial for you to create something new all the time, even if it's not something that you'd normally do. Number 4, know when to quit. I don't mean quit music, I mean take a step back, take a break. It's very important to stop and do something else every once in a while to get yourself back into the creative zone. Sometimes you can get out of it, get burnt out, and you're gonna make horrible tracks. You're going to make things that make no sense, and you're gonna be upset about the process and the song that you're making. Stop making music. Go outside, get some coffee, eat some food, do something, but take a break. It's important to take a break when you're doing creative activities because I believe it's important to create from a place where you feel comfortable and you feel confident, and sometimes getting frustrated will remove you from that, so you need to remove yourself from the situation and come back with fresh ears. Number 3, this is what I call the morning after effect. Now you know that feeling when you've made an absolute banger and you're super stoked on what you've just made and you want the entire world to hear it. But you come back to it later after not having had posted it yet, and you realize that you were kind of drunk in thought when you were making it, and it ends up sounding awful. That's the morning after effect. You were absolutely in love with this girl the night before, and you ended up going way too far, and the next morning you realize that she is not what you thought she looked like. It's the same thing with making songs and making music. You need to, before you post it, take a step back and evaluate whether this is something that you're in love with or you just liked how it sounded in that particular moment. So be sure to take a break, come back to it later with fresh ears, and see if you're really in love with it. And if you're not, then it's time to go on to number 2, which is rewrite. Sometimes you'll need to rewrite your tracks so that they make sense. It might not be your most favorite part, but it'll be the part that makes sense. You need to approach that with a fresh perspective. So what I mean by that is that as a drummer, I love drum solos, but it doesn't make sense to actually listen to a drummer doing a drum solo over the course of the entire song. If I was a drummer listening to a track, I would love to listen to that, but it doesn't make sense in the concept of the song. So if I wrote essentially a drum solo over the entire track and made the drums way too busy, it wouldn't fit, and I would need to rewrite that. But in context, that's where you'll definitely find your rewrites and your revision. Rewriting is absolutely crucial. You're going to go over a track that you really are dedicated to a lot. A lot of professional songwriters go over 2-bar phrases for a long time until they get exactly what they want out of it. And you're gonna have the same thing too. I just went over this one song that I was working on, and just the drop alone, over 8 bars, I was on that for 3 hours. Now that's not how songs are always gonna go, but I was dedicated to finishing those particular 8 bars to be the absolute best that they possibly could be. Sometimes you're going to have to take time and really rewrite, but going over revisions is absolutely crucial. The number 1 tip that I can give is listen. And I don't mean put on music and bang it in the car. I don't mean put on music and go about doing your day. I don't mean do your homework while you're listening to music. I mean stop what you're doing, get off social media, stop everything and listen and really hone in on what the song is. Go over the chorus, the 8 bars, and listen to everything. Pick out every part. Go over the cymbals. Go over the snare drum. What does the snare drum sound like? Is it a high cracking snare drum, or is it a low, looser kind of sounding snare drum? Are the hi-hats real crisp, or are they really loose sounding, really dark? Is the ride dark? Is the ride bright? What does the bass drum sound like? How did those elements interact together? Now, what does the piano sound like? Is it super compressed? Is it super open? Is it really dry? Is there a lot of reverb? How do those pieces fit together, work together, and how does it fit in the entire grand scheme of the song, the entire spectrum of the whole song, and how does the whole song sound together? How is the song mixed? Is it real bright or is it real dark? What feeling does that give you? All those kinds of things. But hone in on every part of that song individually, as a group, and as a whole song. Rhythm section, leads, etc., etc. Because the thing is, once you've picked apart songs, you can take out all this to put into elements later. So you'll take, consume, and digest. And later on when you're making, you'd have those to also regurgitate or put out or whatever. So that's my number one. Listen to the tracks that you're trying to make. Listen to all kinds of stuff. Listen to the interplay. And once you've got a really, really great locked in idea of music, and that's a process, by the way, but you're going to learn so much and you're going to be able to apply so much more to your songs that you produce. All right? That's what I got for you today this week.